preparing to live stream the meeting.
And we are live.
Are we? Oh, we are.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. This is Rachel here together with...
Desmond here.
Yep. Oh, we are live. Oh, sorry. This is the first time I'm using Zoom and this is interesting.
And everyone, yes, Rachel is very, very amazed and very, very excited and using Facebook Live on Zoom.
Yes, I'm trying to explore whether I can see the comments on Zoom itself. Okay. Anyway, so coming back to tonight, you know, Desmond and myself, we wanted to come on live to chat with you guys a little bit about personal development.
Yes.
Yep. So the topic for tonight's chat is about creating me time, you know, as part of our personal development journey. Desmond, I'm curious, what does me time mean to you? What is me time to you?
Me time to me means it's all about me. Just joking. Me time means it is a time that I get to. Okay, I've had changes in terms of me time over a number of years. In the past, I was, let me put it as thought or deluded that me time means gaming time. And I actually spent hours on online games before.
Does that work for you? The gaming part?
I thought it was working, but you know, actually, then I actually realized that I would get bored and tired after that. So that is the point of time I started to realize that this me time maybe wasn't really quite working that as much or as well. So now my version of me time will be a bit more of even just meditation, closing my eyes, because now I define gaming and Netflixing as it is instead of a me time. So my me time now consists more of really me taking a rest, and that rest really means that I'm off devices, I'm off Netflix, off the TV, off my laptop. Sometimes it's a book, but there are also times where, so this is kind of sound a little bit weird also. There are some times where I'm just watching some speakers on their TED Talks is also a bit of a me time. So I think for me, it's probably like a specific intention right now that a me time is for me to, you know, either really rest or you know, to me, sometimes watching motivational speakers is also a form of rest.
Wow, that's very interesting. Yeah. So for me, me time is basically time I set aside for me, and it's time that I don't feel guilty about zoning out if I want to. If I want to sleep during that time, I will sleep and I'll do anything that I need to do, or even, you know, just like this morning I went out to Starbucks and read. It was funny. I read half a page of a book because the words kept eluding me. But I like the environment and I treasured that time because I had the chance to journal a little bit as well. So that's something that basically for me, my me time is time that I set aside to give me some time to rest and rejuvenate. And how I do that, because every one of us are different, how I do that is by zoning out and doing things that I like. Yeah.
You know, interestingly, this zoning out, is something that, probably because that's why I was like hesitating, do I use the word meditation? But yeah, I think what you reminded me is that actually zoning out is also a way. And actually, I also learned this phrase from a show before, that zoning out allowed the person who said this in that show. It was a reality show. It's actually a Korean program. Zoning out allowed the person to rest the brain, because that person belonged into the creative field, creative industry. So this person actually mentioned that zoning out is very frequent, and very important because it allows him to rest his brain. So yeah, you reminded me about that.
Wow. I completely agree, man. I love it. For people who know me, right, that's kind of like my hobby. When I'm not properly working or stuff, you know, I kind of like to zone out. And that's okay because I know the benefits that it bring me and I do it intentionally. Yeah.
That explains why you're so creative.
Am I? Oh, that's good to know.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Interesting. Yeah. So me time, what else? I mentioned journaling earlier. So journaling is a good way of setting aside time for just and me time doesn't necessarily mean half a day, few hours. And you know, for some people who are employees who are working, you know, they don't necessarily have time to set aside few hours, or even those people with kids, you know, not necessarily have that amount of time, but sometimes even setting aside 10 minutes or limited period of time, like 10, 20, 30 minutes, you know, to journal, to, like you mentioned, meditate or zone out, or you know, doing a few of this stuff. It helps because it belongs to their time. Sometimes it helps people to recognize that and take back control of their life, even with that short 10 minutes. You know, I had this client the other day. It was very interesting. He shared this. He said he recently started meditation with adding in the part about the gratitude. So he listed out a few things, you know, he began to think about some of the things that he's grateful for. And he was sharing with me that he actually shifted his temperament.
Ooh.
So before that, he was a little bit more stressful, a little bit more quick to react. You know, he has a young son at home, and every time the son wants something, you know, he would lash out. Yeah. And then he realized that after doing the meditation with a little bit of the gratitude added in, he actually felt the day went a lot more smoother, and he actually was able to just breathe and not react as fast, which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is cool. I think that is cool. There has already been a lot of sharings about meditation itself. Meditation is, for some people, it may be difficult, or it may even sound very distant to have to sit down. But really, if in terms of being zoning out, is kind of in a way similar, so that it allows you to really just take that absolute need to be doing something all the time and just allowing your mind to actually rest, so that you actually take away the jumpiness, you know, or that ready to respond state of mind, and take that off, so that it allows you to relax. And like you mentioned, in terms of journaling, it comes to me that journaling of gratitude itself, if your client is actually doing that, I think if you are able to do that when you actually do a quick meditation and stuff, and if you can also just do some gratitude, some intentions about gratitude, and actually being grateful for the fact that you have this. I mean, the gratitude part can be different and will be different from each and every one. For somebody, some people, it can just simply be the fact that, you know, it may be the kids, you know, a demand that is driving you up the wall, especially with WFH now. But a simple form of possible gratitude is that we are grateful that even in these days of this global pandemic, we have comfortable homes and we are still working and being productive, and that will be possibly a way to be, you know, to be grateful for, despite of what the whole world is actually actually experiencing now. So I think it's a way to be able to just take simple gratitude, simple things to be grateful for.
Yeah, that's very important. So yeah, what else can people do to create that me time? You know, one other thing that came up, you know, my other client is one of my other client is to set aside especially block out time in the calendar to set aside time. Why am I looking so dark here? Okay, I'm moving myself so that I don't look so dark. My room light is actually on top here. So, okay. Excuse me for moving around and finding the right lighting. Yeah. So what was I talking about? I was talking about setting aside time. Setting aside time, blocking out time in the calendar, setting aside time, especially to do things that perhaps you like, and that will constitute the me time. One thing that I would encourage, whoever is watching right now to think about is what do you want out of that me time? What is the intention? What is the outcome that you're looking for? Is it to perhaps rejuvenate? Is it to relax? Is it to, think about the outcome first? Then think about what are the things that you've done before that led you to the outcome, and then incorporate those things into the time that you can set aside for it. Yeah.
Agree. That I really agree.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. I'm seeing a comment. Oh, okay, it's from you.
That was me. Yes, I was testing out, but I can't seem to see in Zoom though.
Yeah, I don't think you can see. I mean, I'm I'm splitting my screen half, so I'm actually viewing the live on the other half of my screen, and I'm actually seeing comments. So for those who are actually watching, I've seen that quite a number of viewers have actually saw the sharing about this, and they have actually liked. So if you have some time and you're able to join, feel free to join us, and just give us a little bit of comments if you have about what you do to build your me time, or to allocate yourself a me time, and share with us also some little tips that you're using, or even any questions that you will have even after the Facebook Live is actually over and it's actually recorded. Feel free to just drop. We will actually still look at it and we'll pick it up.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I found. Okay, I share with you after that. This is the Facebook that I'm watching on my website that allows me to look at it, but it seems like it's delayed reaction, so I'm going to move back to Zoom and focus on our topic instead.
When you watch Facebook Live, there will be at least about 30 seconds of
yeah,
time. Yeah,
few seconds left. Yeah,
few seconds are lag behind. So when you mentioned earlier about one of your clients who actually block out time to do it, I totally agree with that, and I also strongly advocate, even in the block out time, really state that whether is that me time meant to be even more precise with what that me time is. That me time is meant to zone out, put down not just the intention, put down in specific that this is a zone out me time, 10 minutes. And then maybe your next block of me time that you actually plan in maybe a second part of the day is a me time for 5 pages of my book. Why not set it in? And then a next me time, half an hour playing with my cats. Why not? So
or walking the dog. There was this other client that had had this challenge of separating work and personal life. So I asked her, what is something that you really like to do, and when you get back the time you would really want to be doing? She said walking the dog. She loves her dogs and she loves to go on walks with them, and the thought about having the time to walk the dog is a motivation for her. Yeah, and that was so interesting. Yeah,
that's cool. I mean, I stay in the place where there's a lot of dog owners in my estate that I stay. And the amazing thing is that most of them walk their own dogs. They are really the owners that is, because there's a number that the dog is being walked by the maid.
Okay, I see.
So there are
so you're talking to the person who doesn't own the dog.
Yeah, I don't own a dog. Well, at least I don't own a dog now. When I was younger, like maybe 15, I had a nice. So I can't remember what breed was it. It was kind of like a mixed breed. Never, and maybe at the time, never really knew about walking, but I like bringing the fella down and letting the fella run. So the danger was that if the fella doesn't come back, then too bad.
Yeah.
But we didn't really leash the dog much. Fortunately, the dog didn't run away. I think the dog is homely enough to know that it needs to come home with us, and it doesn't really quite run away that much. So yeah, so that is again. So I'm actually very amazed at how some of these owners who really loves their dog, and I can really see that same pattern that you're mentioning for your client. And yes, I agree that that is a really good me time, because your dog will also be in the moment, in the present itself, because it has that time to go out and walk. Apparently dogs really just need to walk, because in progress I also learned that dogs need to walk and sniff around their environment to de-stress. Now that's something I also learned. I was like, really, is that true? Could be.
Wow.
They need to sniff around everything in order to de-stress. So any dog lovers or anyone that has a very good psychology understanding of dogs, please feel free to drop us a comment and let me know, is this correct?
Is it about them understanding their surrounding and helping them to feel safe and secure?
Possibly. There wasn't really much explanation about it, but the person who owns dogs and walks the dogs.
Okay.
I'm not talking about one dog. That lady probably owns like 5 dogs, 3 cats, or 4 cats. Yeah. So when she walks the dogs, it's like she explains that the dogs have to sniff around in order to de-stress. So,
I see. That's interesting.
Yeah.
How they sniff versus see or just explore.
Yeah. True.
Maybe it's like humans who like to touch. Like me, I'm quite kinesthetic, so I like to touch things, which is a bit dangerous when I try to touch the leaves and the flowers. Don't know whether poisonous or not, but well.
Now for COVID change, I use this. Use this to touch whatever that you want to touch. At least you wouldn't. No, but at least you wouldn't. You're not going to put this to your nose and catch COVID, so it's safer.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Now I learned something today too.
Yeah, you're not gonna get an elbow to your nose, so
okay.
So that is why I think that is why when COVID started, there was like some advisory sale. Instead of touching it, use your elbow, because you're not gonna. I realize that you're not gonna put your elbow to your nose, because I can't do that. I don't know if anyone can does. Anyone who watches this and you can do it, please let me know and show me. I'd love to see how you. I love to learn how to do that. So
actually, digress a little bit. When COVID first started, they are online marketplace. I see them selling those gadgets that has a pointer. It's like a finger, but it's a plastic or something that you just bring and you use that to press the lift button or something. Yeah, it was quite funny.
Yeah, it's funny, but in a way, it's that it makes sense, because that is an external object. It's along the same line. What you're seeing is that someone came with a product to help you with that. But the really initial phase, you know what actually happened, if you recall? Apart from toilet paper that flew off the shelves and went no stock, you know what was the other thing that went no stock? Condoms.
Oh, is it because they use that to? Yes. Oh, is that why?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. I was thinking. I mean, initially I had a question, but then subsequently it went away because.
Yeah, apparently. Okay, I don't have actual proof, but apparently somebody have seen, and I kind of like okay, there are people who are careful and realize that condom is a very good shape to protect your fingers when you need to press leaves and all that stuff. I was like, okay, interesting. Never thought about that.
Why do they just use gloves? So funny.
Gloves, you have to put on the whole gloves. And then if you're just going to press the leaf, you just use one finger.
Okay.
Probably
cool.
easy, I guess so.
Yeah.
So apparently that was the explanation. But in any case, I think it made good sales for both the makers for condoms and toilet paper. So.
And it's funny how our topic went all over the place.
All over the place. Yes. Get back. Journaling.
Yeah. Okay. So today's topic is about personal development, me time, creating me time for ourselves, for yourself. And some of the things that we already spoke about is about, spending some time, setting aside time for yourself, setting aside time for journaling, and including some gratitude, things that you're grateful for. and also setting aside time for things that you enjoy. I added in one more thing, which is, doing things that you enjoy without any expectations from it. Like, I'm happy to have read half a page of a book this morning too. I don't have any expectation that I would finish one chapter or any expectation at all, none at all. So I'm just happy to, okay,
Yeah,
done with
that's
it,
good.
so be it.
That's good. And then I agree. So it relates back to why previously I thought me time is equivalent to me having my gaming time, because it reached a state of time. It reached a state where I felt that I was frustrated, because when you play a game, you want to win, and then when you improve, you start getting matched up with stronger players, and then there'll be a time where you don't win so much, and then that leads to frustration. When you don't win, then that becomes a form of frustration itself, and thus it didn't felt that it was a very meaningful me time. In fact, it kind of like started draining me. So now, even though I still play sometimes some online games, a couple of them, that's all. One is a very simple game. You see me playing at my and you almost have a heart attack playing that. Somehow I don't feel frustrated or not much, because to me it was just a way that I could zone out from other areas and just zone in on that game. Strangely, I don't know how that happened, but I realized that happened for me. And the other game that I play is an online game that matches with other players for 10-15 minutes. So I now play in a very relaxed manner, where it's just a game. The winning and the losing, yes, it will affect the scores and my standing, but it's just a game. So
yeah. And I like what you mentioned earlier with regards to, the awareness that some of the things, the previous games that you play causes you stress. And so it goes back to having the awareness to know what are some of the things that you do that is empowering and is helpful for you, versus things that you do that causes you stress. For example, for me, I've come to notice that, sometimes go out, nowadays not so much lah, but usually sometimes when I go out, I'll put on makeup. And I realized that the process, it's not the outcome, of how I look after makeup. It is the process of putting on makeup that is therapeutic for me. Yeah, which when I notice that, I will be like, okay. So I will extend that period of time. I mean, allow more time for me to play around with it, just so that I experience that therapeutic time. So it goes back to awareness of knowing what works for you and what doesn't. Yeah.
So yeah, and this is a very, very good point, Rachel. It comes down to the fact that why it comes down to a part about mind chatter. So if some of you who like me is a little bit into meditation and stuff, so what happens is that our minds are always busy. We're always looking for something to be busy about, the mind itself. So in what happens in doing something which is very hands-on, especially for high kinesthetic. By the way, I'm also very high kinesthetic. I think my K level is probably higher than yours. I remember my numbers are very high for K, which got higher in the past a year or two, probably in the past 2 years. So what actually happens is, in terms of doing something that's hands-on, it actually gives your mind a specific focus on this one task at hand. And task, it actually, if you look at it, it's the same way as zoning out, but now you're zoning in. So by zoning into one specific thing that you're doing, and kind of like just being there, being present and focusing on it, so that actually allows your brain to not get distracted. And so that is likely how that therapeutic part comes in.
Yeah, true.
I've watched a US, it's not a sitcom, a US show where this military investigator, he was a sharpshooter, a sniper in the US Navy. Then he turned into an investigator, and being someone that's an investigator, it is very brainy work. Investigation, criminal psychology, profiling. You know what he does in his free time? He builds a boat in the basement of his house. Boat, as in really boat.
Oh, I know. Okay, can I say the name of the show?
You know, right? Okay.
Is it that 4-letter word?
Yes. Yes. It's a 4-letter word. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So then that is where I was like, actually, when I first watched that show, I didn't quite understand why he was into building boats. Why does he build a boat in the bottom? And the thing is, if you notice, he built a boat in his basement. He will never get that boat out.
True.
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
He will never be
Yeah.
able to get the boat out. He built it into an enclosed basement, and there's no way that you'll be able to open up an area to drag the boat out. But he builds a boat in there. So eventually, I thought more about it. I realized that doing something with absolute focus is actually a way that becomes therapeutic for the person. And in that case, that was what I got from that show, is that is that therapeutic thing for him itself.
Yeah, and he's probably a K too. Yeah. So for people, for those who are watching, K, when we talk about K, it refers to kinesthetic, which is about feeling. There's generally there's a few areas. What's the word? Area is not a good word. Few types that we are more of. It could be we're either visual, or we could be auditory, or kinesthetic, and the fourth one is actually internal dialogue, where we think a lot and we talk to ourselves. So this is what we are talking about. The K here we're talking about is kinesthetic, where people like to touch, like to feel, and especially for people like me who go into the department store, I see a towel, I will stretch out my hand and want to touch because it's so soft and fluffy, and oh my goodness. Yeah. So if you're like that too, you like to touch things, yeah, you're more highly likely that you're a kid. Yeah.
True. Yeah. So that was what came to me. So yeah, it was something of a very interesting understanding that I gained. Was like, oh, okay, so that is a way that it becomes very therapeutic. So in the same manner, for high K people, or maybe even for most people, if going for a bicycle ride, even jogging. I was a runner for a while. I was running for probably 3 years until I busted my knee. I realized that actually when I was actually running, it was very nice and focused, because all I was focusing on was not to stop, just continue. And in a way, it's just how good or how tough it was. When it was how good it felt, then the running was really good.
Yeah. So is that running time your me time at that point?
I didn't realize that way. At that time, I didn't really think that way. At that time was because my job at that time, I walked a lot, as in really, really a lot. I lost about 15 kilos in a year plus at that time, because my job required a lot of walking around. And for the ladies, it was so nice, because at that time, I had to go to every shopping center in Singapore.
Wow.
Every single shopping center, big and small. Those that you wouldn't call a mall, but because the place is called a mall, so it's a mall, so I had to go to, because of the nature of my work. And so with that walking, suddenly running became very easy, because I had walked so much already. So when I had to, I jumped on the fact that at the time I still had to train for my IPPT itself, and I realized that running became easy. And then I started just riding on the wave. I was doing 10 kilometers run. I went for prison run and a couple of them as well. So suddenly running became easy, until one day the knee gave way. So quite unfortunate. But yeah, but what I realized is that at that time, it was just very simply focusing on one thing. I realized that when you're running, and for those runners who watch this, you'll probably realize that becomes therapeutic. And I start to understand why runners love running, because at the time you just focus on one thing, which is yeah.
Good.
So therapeutic.
So it goes back to awareness of what works for you and what doesn't, and doing more of what works for you, so that it can help you to grow in your personal life, and to just allow your life to be more enriching and more fulfilling as well. Yeah, in a way.
In a way, yes. I absolutely agree. So having
Cool.
the me time is very, very important and useful. So we can always make good use of it by having that intention, whether it is just a rest, a zone out in terms to rest the brain, or to be able to put in a little bit of blocking the me time to do some improvement, like reading. Half a page works, one sentence works too. If it brings you something to take away, why not? There's never too little. I don't know if there's ever too much as well. So it's up to you to actually make good use of it. People who are doing yoga, it's also a very good form of it's also very, very therapeutic. A friend of mine now runs a center that they actually teach yoga, Reiki, and other things. So especially the yoga class itself, I heard is very, very popular because with work from home being like this for the past 1 year, they're getting a lot of people coming in even for morning yoga.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that's amazing. And that allows people to really just, that 1 hour yoga lesson is just concentrating on yourself, your body,
Yes.
and just being very, very focused. And that I
Yes.
think is an amazing form of me time.
Yes. So see the time as an investment on your own well-being and mental health. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Great. Well done.
Well
So
done.
whoever is watching this video, if you want to share with us how you spend your me time to give, other people some ideas as well, feel free to drop a chat, a message below as well. We will check in from time to time, and yeah, we can communicate from there too.
Yes,
Cool.
feel free to drop us a message. Follow us on Peak Resonance Coaching and Training Facebook page itself.
Yes.
We'll be around to share more little tips and more insights. And we're also looking forward to everyone and anyone linking up with us and sharing with us something that you would like to share about. And we'll be happy and we'll be there to pick it up.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So we'll catch you guys the next time we come live.
Yes, we'll see you all the next time.
Okay,
Good night, everyone.
bye.